Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching another of my interviews here at the Louisiana State Capitol. With me right now is State Representative Schamerhorn, District 24. Where is 24? I know it starts in the upper left-hand part of the state, but where's 24 end up?
It starts in Sabine Parish, about 3/4 of the way up, goes to I-49 in Natchitoches Parish, and then it comes all the way down to Beauregard Parish, surrounds Leesville and Fort Polk. Yes.
Well, you got some legislation this session. I'd like for you to talk about that a little bit.
Okay. OMV is everybody's nightmare. Okay.
Yeah.
So to get a student or a youth licensed in the state of Louisiana, they have to do about 8 visits to OMV or the driving school. That's too much.
Yeah, exactly.
And what we've done is tried to streamline it a little bit. Got amended, and we did get 1 visit out, but they'll be able to do it online, okay? And we're still going to work on it, but the least that we have to go to OMV, the less work it is, so, you know, maybe it'll flow a little easier. But anyway, they're working on a new computer system that'll help out.
So is this going to be a way to make it more efficient without taking away the safety aspect?
Yes.
Yes. You would think multiple trips makes our roads more safe, but how does that work with this?
It does. But look, you know, I was driving whenever I was on my, just barely could reach over the steering wheel, or see over the steering wheel. But, they say, well, today's youth are a little bit different. Some don't want to drive,
Right.
And that's true. I mean, I see it all the time. But the thing is, the challenge was I was wanting to try to get the driver's ed part, the class, okay? I wanted them to do the skills test at the school when they got through with their class.
Okay.
The schools did not feel comfortable with that. So they're still going to have to come back. But if you're 18 and doing the driver's ed for the first time, they will test you at the end of the class instead of making you come back. So actually, if you're 18, you'll have two places you can skip. But it's just something that we're looking forward to.
So the efficiency, is it going to be more efficient for adults too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And
everybody loves that.
Mom and Dad don't have to go quite as many times. Okay.
So what's your other legislation?
The one that I really am, looking forward to present tomorrow is in committee tomorrow, and that's on the life jackets for Sabine River. For minors.
Okay.
People don't realize it, but below the spillway of Toledo Bend, we have pretty white beaches all the way down to the Gulf.
I've heard. I've never been down that way.
And it's real scenic and all that. Back whenever I was a young man, we used to have like the Great Mother's Day canoe race, and it would start at Toro, and we would end up down at Burr Ferry. And some days you would be able to float high in swift waters. Yeah. And other years you would drag it through the sandbox, because if they weren't generating or something, it took all the water out. There's been 24 drownings in one area in Beauregard Parish. Last year there was 4 lost their life. One was a 12-year-old child and 3 adults. 2 adults were within the family, and one was another person at the river. Okay. And he went in to help also. What it is, when they're generating electricity and turning water loose, it's a high volume of water coming through.
I see. So it's going like a storm water.
Yeah. And undertow in this area is a 40-foot drop off, and the undertow is terrible. And what happens is that they get in there and get in trouble, and natural instinct is, hey, I got to go help, and then you're in trouble. So
what's interesting is there's some state parks in Utah that have that exact problem, where you can hike in an area, but because of the closed area, when they have a sudden rainfall or whatever, there's some drowning. So what you're saying is require minors, they have to wear life jackets in these particular areas because of these unforeseen circumstances.
Yes, if they're wanting to get in the water, if they're on the beach, I don't have a problem with them being on the beach. But if you want to get in the water, let's do it safely. Okay. Okay.
It's kind of odd because it's almost like a boat. You're required to wear a life jacket in a boat, But if the boat's parked, of course, you can't have you don't have the life jacket.
Okay, and you know, I was feeling a little concerned about having to bring this because what we're doing is taking away from people's rights.
Right.
Okay, but it's a safety issue. OSHA law, you know, workers OSHA. If you're an employee and you work on a dock, doesn't matter what the depth of the water is, you're required to wear a life jacket.
Okay.
Okay, that's an employee of an employer having to wear a life jacket.
Right.
It's for safety reasons, and that's why I don't feel too bad about bringing this for a minor because there's been 24 deaths.
Well, like you said, sometimes there's a fine line between freedom, having somebody have their freedom and having a rule that regulates it. But in a case like this, these are public areas.
Yes.
And sometimes a little like this will bring enough awareness that you'll save some lives.
Yes, and that's what we're hoping for.
You've got, let's see, HB 207 establishes penalties. Well, that's what we just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
HB 232 provides relative to licensing and reporting procedures for charitable gaming.
Okay, that was like a local bill. Toledo Bend Lake Association, they're about 1,100 members. What it is to keep them from having to go through the fingerprinting and all this to do fundraisers, raffles or whatever
For their nonprofits.
For a nonprofit, they were eliminated because they are using those funds to go back into natural resources, like restocking the lake, doing replicas of the 10-pound plus fish.
Right, exactly.
So they just fell in an exemption is what happened.
This just helps a nonprofit raise some money, especially for the community,
without causing a bad headache.
You've got HB 237 provides relative to certain activities regarding contraband.
That bill's also going to be heard tomorrow in committee. Grant Parish Sheriff, it affected him. Last year there was a state bill that did the state prisons. Mm-hmm. Federal was omitted. There's not but 4 federal prisons in Louisiana, and the contraband bill neglected to name those, and that's all it's doing.
So just kind of cleaning some things up.
Yes, it is.
And let's see, you got HB 592, pending House 4 provides relative. Oh, that's for the for the driver's education.
Yeah.
I got one other question. I'm hearing that there might be some legislation for this, but would you support legislation that requires representatives to update their photos on the Louisiana legislature site?
Sure.
So that way it looks more like them.
Yeah.
As they are today,
yeah.
Instead of when they got elected 12 years ago?
Right. I mean, we all age gracefully, okay? So, I mean, funny you mentioned that. I saw a picture of somebody the other day that was 25 years different, probably, And I said,
yeah, we won't name some of the legislators that have been here for quite that while there. Representative Schamerhorn, thank you so much for being on there. I really appreciate it. Any other final words before we head out?
No, that's it. We are trying to hold the line on upping their ceiling on our spending.
Okay.
We're going to try to stay under that cap, and hopefully we can pay down debt and save money.
I like the fact that y'all are doing that here in our state of Louisiana, unlike what they're doing in D.C., and I like the fact that you are holding that line. I appreciate that.
We're trying if we don't get bought off. Some of them don't get bought off. Okay?
I appreciate it. Thank
you
y'all very much, and watch for the next interview.